Hi everyone. So my project for today is to hook up a tow charge from LSL Products between the RV and the C-Max so we can get a better charge going while we're driving to the C-Max battery. This is the actual kit that comes with the tow charge from LSL Products. It's pretty nice. They give you a nice fuse that's going to go on the RV side, on the positive side of the circuit. That's a 15 amp circuit breaker. A lot of hardware, that you're going to need to do the hookup. Some nice modular connectors, plenty of connections of different sizes that I can use to hook up on different places. And then I got mine with the 40 feet of wire. This is all 12 gauge high quality wire, so shouldn't have any problem with drop-in voltage as it goes back. They also included an awful lot of zip ties, which is great. More zip ties in here. So it's pretty well thought out, and they give you good instructions too. Now what I've already done is I've already put the one side of the Sprinter up on simple blocks. I just drive them up just to get a little more room underneath. Other preparation I've done is to cover up the solar panel on the roof. I heard that was a way to keep the 12 volts from coming into where the battery is on the house battery. So sounds like valid logic to me. I've also found the chassis battery in the Mercedes chassis, and I've disconnected the negative lead from that, just in case. Just being careful. Not sure that was necessary, but I did it anyways, per the instructions. And I've also disconnected the negative lead from the house battery. You can see I already took off the cable there. And my plan is to actually connect to the house battery circuit. Now the benefit of that, from what they tell me, is that I would be able to have my line to the C-Max connected while I'm at a campground and I'm plugged in, and that would provide a charge overnight, as an example. Now that sounds like a useful capability, so I've decided to take that route. Now I've already found out that you probably can't see them, but back inside there, I've got connections that I should be able to easily get to make my connections for the positive and negative lead to the charge controller. And well, you may also not be able to see there, but there is a nice little access point where I can get the wires through. So that's the next step I'm going to take. Well, I just finished my first connection here, so you can see the white cable coming from the left. I've got the positive connected, and I've got the ground wire connected. I ended up soldering those circular connectors to the wire. I just don't like those crimp connections. They just don't seem to ever be tight enough to me. So I soldered them to make sure I'm not going to have any connection problems. And I've got, you can see I've got that wire routed out through that grommet going down underneath the RV. So the next thing I need to do is basically get my that circuit breaker or that fuse installed, and put the positive lead on that. Well, I'm underneath the RV. You can see where my wire comes down from the battery box. I've got my circuit breaker connected here. This side is to the motorhome, this side is going to the dinghy per the instructions that are written on there. And I'm routing the wire back to the back of the RV now and getting it fastened down with zip strips. I'm at the back of the motorhome now, and I've got this wire routed out the back by my hitch. I think what I'm going to do is just I'm going to have a little clip with me, and when I'm not using it, I'm going to keep it clipped up there like that, just to keep it out of the way. Don't want to drill any holes in the body or anything, but basically I've got, you know, the red wire routed to the side with the red dot on it, and once I know this is all working correctly, I'll go ahead and put the shrink tubing on this the way they recommend it. But I've got to wait till I test everything, so I've got to move to the dinghy now and start working on that. Alright, so I've got the towed part of it set up now. I'm just doing a test here of connectivity, making sure everything's okay. It looks like it's good. So what I did is I ran another wire. Obviously, I took off my fascia, ran the wire up over here. I decided to mount the charge controller right there. I just used some zip ties on this plastic frame member. You know, it's good and rigid. And I made my connection to the battery right here. The battery's actually in the back of the car, on this car. And this panel right here will open up. Try to do it. And I just bolt this. There's a bolt right here in the corner, this top corner, the very top, that I just took that bolt off of there, made my connection, being careful not to touch any grounds while I was doing it, obviously, because on this car you can't really, I tell you not to disconnect the ground. So it's no big deal. Then if you look straight down, I don't know if you can see it, but there's on a frame member, I just undid that bolt kind of right in the middle of where my camera's pointing right now, and I put my ground wire connection right there. I'll wiggle it a little bit, maybe you can see it, and that's it. And you know, my lights verify that everything is working. You may not be able to see that with the sun glare. See if I get some shit. There you go. A little shade on there so you can see it better. But it says charging, and it's got power to it, so everything is connected correctly. And then we go inside. I have this, one of the ways I checked what was happening is I have this little gauge that plugs into the cigarette lighter, and I could watch that go up and down. You can see it's going up now as the battery is charging. So I think it's all working the way I want it to. So I feel much better about this than the previous solution. So I look forward to taking the next trip and seeing what happens. So I finished up the ends of the cables by putting the shrink wrap on here. Unfortunately, I didn't find the shrink wrap they supplied until I looked at the envelope after I was all done. I went out and got some more, but I used the same size, 3/4 inch. Works fine. These little end caps work out pretty good. You know, keeping them clean. And just to show you how I tuck this up here behind the motorhome, I just use this little spring clamp here, and I have it clipped to the zip tie that I use to secure the dust cover. So I think that's a pretty nice, tidy implementation. So nice kit, really like it. Look forward to seeing how it works out on a real tow.